Good afternoon. So, how many of you do actually know Picnic? Well, it's quite impressive. I thought we were world famous in the cities we operate in, like Amersfoort, Almere, Den Haag, etc. And not many other people would know us. But I'm going to tell you a little bit today about the making of Picnic. So the story of the last 1.5, or actually like 4 or 5 years that ran up to this point. I shall start with a little bit of background about myself. I ran into the tech industry a long time ago when Amazon was still a bookstore and somebody else thought a toy store would be interesting in the US and founded eToys, and I got kind of involved. And after that, I founded a company called Fredhopper, which is a software company that kind of makes a software that drives the digital shelves of most of the largest online retailers in the world. We did that for 10 years, working with all the big names in the then internet sectors. And after that, I became interested in the food sector. And I shall share a little bit why I became interested in the food sector. The initial trigger was that all our customers at Fredhopper were obviously in the travel, electronics, or fashion kind of sectors, because those were the sectors that people were buying online, and virtually nobody was buying any food online, still very limited. So that was the initial trigger. But when you dig a little deeper, you found much bigger problems, big human problems that are interesting and difficult to solve. First of all the bread that's still on the shelves in the normal supermarket 5 minutes before it closes will obviously be thrown away. And not just the bread, but millions and millions of food items are thrown away every day. That's a bit of a waste, I guess. And the second sort of very interesting point about food is that obviously we all eat, so it touches everyone's lives. It's not just a few people, but it also means that massive amounts of people are driving in their cars to supermarkets 3 times a week, which is maybe not the sort of most modern thing to do. Other than that is the trade relationships. It's not very easy for producers of great products to get on the shelves. Massive companies get on the shelves of supermarket, but not necessarily all the sort of companies that you want to see on the shelves. And then we're wasting obviously a lot of time altogether, spending an hour or 2 hours a week doing the same routine type task every week again to get the same stuff in your household that you were sort of getting last week in the household. Well, I was motivated by these kind of more bigger, kind of human, big problems if we cannot make that a little bit better with some technology. So this is the founding thesis behind Picnic. Now, we had no solution yet, but we also figured out that the food business is big business. And just to get it into your minds, the food sector is as large as all other retail sectors together. So half of your money you spend in the supermarket, simply said. So the other half is kind of solved by Amazon, roughly, bol.com in Holland or whatever. And the other half is not yet solved, and therefore an interesting problem, and also from a human perspective, a very interesting problem to work on. So we took a little bit more of an analytical view at the supermarkets. What are they doing? They've built a super successful distribution system to get food items from producers to consumers for the lowest possible price. That's why we all do this. And it kind of works like this. They have a big warehouse and many mini warehouses in cities. They call it stores, but essentially they use you as store pickers. And you go there 3 times a week, going through the same kind of labyrinth or maze with your cart, doing the same kind of store picking that we do for you. So we thought, couldn't there be another sort of idea? There is loads of cashiers, stock pickers, all sort of stuff in that store. Very heavy system. Then they smartly use you to come to the store. In the early 2000s, online grocery models were kind of emerging. And they have Albert Heijn in Holland, or Tesco's in the UK, or Carrefour, or anybody else. But essentially what they did is replace the car of the consumer by a van of the store. So now the supply chain has never got shorter. It's actually got longer, so it got more expensive. So buying food online is more expensive than buying food in a food store. which is kind of strange because buying a book or buying travel or buying electronics online is usually cheaper than in a store. So shouldn't there be a way to drive real innovation, not just do the same thing again without any technology? So we started working right on the complete supply chain, and we were inspired by a very old idea, the milkman. The milkman existed everywhere around the world, and initially he brought milk, but then again his range sort of grew a little bit, and he became a super service delivery model. He was just competed away because of price by supermarkets, price and range. He used to have a little book where he sort of noted down what his customers wanted, and people love milkman. So we thought, couldn't there be another sort of modern version of a milkman? And that's essentially what we created, where we give people a mobile app, we don't have any websites, a mobile app on your phone which functions as a remote control for a beautiful, nice little electrical vehicle that comes and brings all the stuff when you want it. No more stores, no more cashiers, no more stock. All the money we save with that, we give back to the consumer, so you get all your groceries for the lowest price, free to your door. And obviously, we did something else, is we use technology like Uber uses it by taking away the burden of having to give you like a 2-hour slot. We come to you between 10 and 12, and I have to wait 2 hours for you, but we tell you up until the minute when we come. So a much more convenient model, a bit of a breakthrough, and I'll tell you, in the food sector. There's a little movie that shows you, that shows you how it works. So this literally is Milkman 4.0 or whatever, new version, modern version of the milkman. And it's entirely built on a completely new supply chain from producers to any step in between, with a completely new technology stack that never existed. That includes, all the software and stuff that you need to coordinate all this, including apps and all sorts of other applications, but also the hardware. We built a vehicle that nobody's ever built before. So it's a vehicle that's electric, that can only drive 40 kilometers an hour, but it's ideally suited to deliver the goods in cities to people's home. And we all connected that together in a huge kind of network. And we launched it initially 1.5 years ago in one city, Amersfoort in Holland. And we told people that we would only launch in one city, and we had 4 cars ready to serve them. And then this happened. On day one, kind of all the country started to apply, and the number of registrations, went through the roof. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So we were a little overwhelmed. It was front-page news. It was in the evening television programs. The day before we didn't exist, the day after, there were 3 supermarkets in Holland, one that didn't exist the day before. So we thought, okay, we might be onto something. But most importantly, people loved the milkman back in their streets. We get pictures every day, hundreds and hundreds of pictures of happy customers, children, happy to see a completely new kind of service delivery. It's almost as if you can touch the internet, because it's in a way a little bit digital, but here we can do that. And you see, children in rows, waving, waiting to see their runner, as we call the delivery boys and girls, to come. People sending in pictures with their favorite runner. They fall in love with their runners, and so on and so forth. Now, this was not born in one day, and this was not made in just 2 sections. But, and I guess that's the essence of the sort of founding or entrepreneurial story behind this, it was made by a few people just sitting down in a room, daring to look at big problems and trying to find solutions. We had no vision, we had no big idea, this is what we're going to do, but we just started. And we started doing it, solving one problem, then the other problem, then failing, then doing the other one again, and then trying. We did more than 3 years sort of iteration, trying to get something together that could possibly work. We were hoping that the vehicles would actually last on the first day, and they did. Happy so. Here you can see some, techies at work. It's hard to, you usually can put pictures of software coders at work, but this was also, building real hardware. This was vehicle 1.0. It was still white. It wasn't ideal, but it could drive and it could do some deliveries. This is our very first maiden trip with our vehicle. We were not open yet, but we were testing it out. Yeah? So it's almost like playing with Lego, in a way. It's constructing something together in a huge, humongous, big market with massive competitors, massive companies. But the beauty of technology and this age is that this can be done. And I think that's a very exciting thought in many ways and in many areas. And there's much, much more to do in the food sector. There are many pressing problems that touch millions and millions of billions of people's life that can be solved through the application of modern kind of technologies. We spend also, loads of time. This is Lars. Lars is somewhere in the audience here. And Lars spent, as many of us, hours and hours with consumers in what we called little town halls in cities, trying to explain what we were going to do and see if they like it and how we could improve it. These were our very first order pickers, all very simple, but one step at a time, you can climb a huge mountain. And of course, celebrating little successes that we had. Now, the proof obviously is in the pudding. So this is what happened in terms of sort of numbers. So before we launched, the online share of the total food market was 1%. And the food market is huge. It's about 40 billion only in Holland. 1 year in, we now have about 5% of that market. So about 5 times the entire market it was a year before. These are, super impressive numbers, and they got us this sort of historic funding round of about 100 million for a 1.5-year-old company that is trying to break an idea into a completely new market. Now, in essence, that's it. I'm very happy to take some questions if you want, and share a bit more as to what you want to hear around background. I have not enough time to give you all the details, but in this brief note, I hope you got a flavor of what it takes and what it has taken us to get where we are right now. Yes, last, because you're so spoiled here.
Hi, Erwin Bogert for e-mers, Dutch online publication. The milkman used to take back your empty bottles. What do you take back yourself? So you could look at Picnic as a return path as well.
Absolutely. And we obviously take back bottles. We take back every plastic bag that we deliver. We take back many more things. But in a way, Picnic is a very well-established distribution network. And yes, you will see Picnic develop into a more broader inner city distribution platform that might bring back other stuff as well that people have in households. Rotterdam. Well, Rotterdam, we just announced that we're launching in Rotterdam. So that's not bad. Thousands of people on the waiting list, so write down quickly. Anything else?
Hi, I'm Jean-Luc. I was one of the beta testers in Amersfoort.
Excellent.
I still love it.
I love them.
Yeah. Every week the doorbell rings and I think, yes, I just did my groceries. That's very nice.
Super.
But I read in the Amersfoort paper that you're also looking to do deliveries to shops, just like restocking shops, because now they have big trucks in the Langestraat in Amersfoort,
Yeah.
And can you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, we're looking at many aspects of the business model we have and what and where we can enhance it. We can obviously not do everything at the same time, so I'll do it step by step. But there are all sorts of ideas in that direction, small businesses, taking stuff back for other people, bringing other kind of stuff that is related to supermarket stuff, why we're not selling toys, very close to what we do, or other kind of stuff that you buy. But it is already, we grow at the rate that is sort of 5x per year, and it's pretty hard work to sort of keep all the tires on the road. So. No, I don't think our business is a supermarket. We happen to have started with a supermarket model, but we're very interested in food. So we're very interested also to improve other aspects of the supply chain in food. Why are we not getting stuff in a supermarket that's directly delivered by farmers? Why do we need anything in between? Why do we need middlemen? Why do we need a whole kind of system that says you cannot sell on our platform and you do?
Currently, you only have an app. What are your future plans on improving on the user experience?
Well, we're working on the app every day and release a new app every week. So we do a lot of work in that area. We do believe a lot in mobile. It was a bit of a risky choice when we launched. We have no website, but we believe that if you put a store in the hands of people that's in their pocket every moment in the day, that brings massive usability as well. And we see this also in usage. People are using it just as they go through their lives. They just say, okay, I just missed something, put that in the basket, etc. So we're very focused on mobile. We think there's many, many more things possible with mobile. And from mobile, I guess we might move more on towards speech or something like that, rather than back to the web.
In the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned that food waste is also one of your goals. How is Technique helping you with that?
Yeah, we reduce food waste by about 80%. And that's for two simple reasons. We have an order-based supply chain, so you order with us today for tomorrow. So we know exactly how many bread we need to bake. But we've also created a bakery to do that. That's normally not possible. So we get exactly the exact number of breads that are ordered and delivered out tomorrow. Now, the whole technology stack obviously helps achieve that. Without that, it wouldn't be possible.
From using your app and your service, I've noticed that you're really geared towards customer satisfaction, and that's something you value very much. So can you maybe talk a bit about your philosophy towards customer satisfaction and how to increase that?
Yeah, this is very true. So we believe in sort of obsessive customer focus. That's why we, for example, have focused big time on our runner community. Runners are delivery boys and girls. They're completely different than any other delivery person you've ever seen, because traditional postal-like companies, they save as much as they can on those people, and if you're unlucky, forgive me the word, but you'll find the police guy at the door. We actually want to set fresh, nice, people that you like to have on your door, that you like to give the keys of your back door. And that's, I think, what we're achieving in the combination between technology, app, and all that, and the person that arrives at the door. That's a huge kind of focus. Similar, like what Blendle, for example, does with giving your money back, no questions asked. We do exactly the same. Make it super simple, make it effective, and then have a nice person at the door that delivers it to you, so you fall in love with the service.
Hi.
Oh,
I'm Boudewijn. I'm a window shopper, so I decide when I go to the store what I'm going to eat. I don't know what I'm going to eat tonight. How do you get people inspired, and how long does it take to get the groceries delivered?
Yeah, that's a more challenging job for us, because indeed there are shopping trips like the one that you just described. Like, I don't know what I want to eat and I want my food in 2 hours, something like that. That are better served with a store network. So I'm not believing that there won't be any stores anymore, but there are many, many, many huge shopping trips, for example, for all families that just need to be stocked up in the home to run the family, that can be served very well with this service. We're specifically not targeting you. Meaning, like, there are many services. This is interesting, by the way, an interesting observation for us all. Many of the internet inventions are somehow related to us, to ourselves. So gearing towards a pretty upmarket audience. I can get my Starbucks coffee delivered in New York for $10 or so within an hour or half an hour, whatever. But that's obviously a hugely expensive system. We're trying to serve the 99% other people in this world. I think we need to kind of close. I had one more thought that I wanted to leave with you. We're launching something called Tech for Life, because we think we can pick all your brains and great ideas to engage with us to see how we can solve other, related, food-related kind of problems that are close to what we do. So it's building Picnic as a platform, but also independent of that, if you think or you're interested in doing any work in solving food-related problems or big human problems related to how families operate their daily life, we're very interested to sort of work with you. We've launched a website called Tech for Life. Go and have a look and see if you can do something there. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together, Joris Beckers.